Wasn't even on. Okay. Well, let's start over. Lord, the sound wasn't on. Let's start over. Lord have mercy. Everyone we have with us today, Miss Gladys Witherspoon. She's running for Prince George's County Circuit Court Judge. Um, so we got to start over, Gladys. I mean, the sound wasn't on, but the sound is on now.
Okay.
All right. So let's start over. Tell us, Miss Gladys, um, tell us about yourself.
Okay. So I've been a criminal defense attorney for about 23 years on and off because I've been a lawyer for 25 years. One of those years I was a law clerk, and a couple of those years I worked for Local 25 as an attorney for them. I represented Local 25 members as a business agent and their attorney.
Okay.
And then I have my own office here in Prince George's County.
Okay. So how long have you been practicing again?
25 years.
25 years. Wow. As a defense attorney. Okay, so I know you mentioned earlier that you were a chief when you worked for the public defender's office. What was that position again?
Okay, so when I worked for the public defender service in the District of Columbia, I started off as a line attorney, and then I was a supervisor, and then I became the felony trial chief. And so as the felony trial chief, I still continue to supervise other lawyers. I planned curriculums and helped train them. We had regular trial practice groups where we sat around and talked about people's cases and taught them how to, get better, and also did a lot of co-counsel cases with other attorneys.
Okay, so just so I want to make it clear to those who are listening and watching us on Facebook that we're not just talking about someone that just sitting at home and decided to run as a judge. Like, you have real life experience in dealing with the law. You're not just somebody that said, you know what, I just want to be a part of a movement. Like, this is what you currently do, and you have been doing for 25 years or more.
Right. Absolutely. I've been fighting injustice for a long time. I would say all of my career.
Right. And there was something interesting that I learned about you. You had a situation where the judge, I guess, he held you in contempt for fighting so hard for your client. Is that something you can share with us? What happened with that?
That actually happened to me twice. My very first trial ever, I was on my own, really. I had just finished clerking, and I started my own practice. It was a juvenile case in D.C. My very first trial ever, the judge detained me. And at that time, juvenile cases are not open to the public, so nobody knew what was going on. I worked for myself, so I didn't have a supervisor to call. And he just decided he was going to step me back. And that lasted probably to the end of the day. And then he went ahead and finished the trial and actually acquitted my client at the end. The second time, it was actually a murder trial. And that was different because there were people in the courtroom, so people knew that I had been detained, and it moved quickly around the courthouse. He also kept me until that time I was working for the Public Defender Service as a supervisor. I think I was already trial chief, as a matter of fact. And he stepped me back and made me stay there until the director came to pick me up. And she happened to be downtown testifying, so it took a while. She came at the end of the day, and he finally released me.
Wow. So in the murder case, when he stepped you back, what was the issue? Are you allowed to talk about, like, why? What was the issue?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So what happened in that case is, and that's funny that happened because later on I explained to you about another case. But what happened in that case was that I wanted to make objections and on any issues that he had decided on. And when I tried to make the objections, he said that objections and coming to the bench were a privilege. And so I was not allowed to just make my objections. And so what I would do is every night I would write down what I would have said had he let me speak, and then I would send it to his chambers. Then we had fax machines. That's how long ago it was. So I would fax it over to his chambers, and every morning when we got back to court, I would make sure that he received it because I wanted it to be part of the record. So every morning we started off with, "Did you get my objections last night?" And every morning he'd say, "Yes, I got them, and they're part of the record." And we moved on. But this particular morning, he said, "Yes, and I think it's absurd that you keep doing that."
Wow.
So I said, "Well, what's absurd is how the way this court is treating me." And so he asked me to say it again. So I did. And I probably moved my neck. He said, "Say it again." So I did. And when I repeated it, he said, "What did you say?" And I said, "I think what's absurd is the way this court is treating me." And when I said it again, he had me step back.
Wow.
And that just meant sending me to the back. I actually didn't expect to be in a cell. But because the last time somebody set me back, which I told you was the first time, the marshal just went and got me a chair and just said, "Just sit back here," and I didn't actually get in a cell. But this time, that marshal had to find me a cell. It was a crowded day. He found me a cell. He put me in there until Avis Buchanan came to get me.
Just real quickly, not going to delve too much in it, but just so that the listeners would know, the reason, I'll let you explain it, the reason why you wanted to object on the record the way you were objecting. Can you explain to them the ramifications behind objecting and not objecting during the trial and what that can do to your client in the appeal process?
Well, yeah, because what happens is, first of all, appeals are harder to win than trials. But you have to make a record of what you're doing in the courtroom. And if a judge does something that you don't like, then it's your responsibility as a lawyer to object and to let the court know why you're objecting. Because what will happen, and in fact it had happened to me, I had objected to something, the judge didn't let me go forward, I didn't push on it, and so I had read a case that was actually my case. It was United States versus Kalani Williams. I remember it perfectly. And they said, "Well, the lawyer objected," which was me, "but not enough." So now I was on notice that I had to do more than just say objection and to try to get it on the record. So to make sure I did that, I was writing every night what it was I would have said, because I didn't want the Court of Appeals to say, "Well, she objected, but she didn't say enough." And that's why I kept doing that, because murder cases are difficult. This was a difficult case, and so I wanted to make sure my record was clear, and that's all I was doing.
Right. And I don't know if I skipped over it or not, but in terms of education, law school, where did you attend law school, or what's your educational background as it pertains to law?
Okay, so I went to the University of Maryland College Park, and then I went to DC School of Law. Now they're UDC Law School, but they used to be DC School of Law, and before that they were Antioch. And it was this little building on 13th Street next to the Heck Company with 2 floors on it. Best school ever, though, because you got to practice law on the very first year. We had to do clinics on the very first year. We immediately were with clients and learning how to, deal with judges and stuff. In fact, my first trial, I was actually still in law school. It was my 3rd year. It was the UUV. It was a juvenile, and we won.
Okay. Great. So moving along, I promise not to hold you too long, but I just want to get some more information out there. Now you do these Know Your Right clinics, Know Your Rights clinics across the county. Can you elaborate and give us some information on what that is about, and possibly share some of the things that you talk about in there?
Sure. So the Know Your Rights clinic is something I started a while back, actually, and now I've just found more people who are interested in getting information. And all it is me explaining to people what you should do or what you don't have to do when you're stopped by the police. It's usually about a car stop. And so we talk about what your rights are, We talk about that right card that everybody fills out and they think they know the answer, but they really don't. They think they know the best answers, but we really don't know the best answers because you don't know the law as much as you think you do. And so we go through scenarios and we discuss what you should do when stopped by the police.
Okay. And what do you suggest we should do, especially as young black men being stopped by the police? Can you run through a couple of scenarios and what we should do and how we should react when dealing with law enforcement?
Okay. So the first thing that everybody should know, and I guess I'm supposed to say this is not total legal advice. These are suggestions to do when you are being stopped by the police. And they're hard to do. I will say this. They're very hard to do because everybody thinks if I just talk to them, they'll let me go.
Okay.
But the truth is that they won't let you go. If they decided that they're going to arrest you, no matter what you say, they're going to arrest you anyway. So the first thing that everybody has to be clear about is that there's a reason why you have the right to remain silent. And you should use that right from the word go and be just as limited as possible. So a lot of times I see police officers stopping people on the street literally saying, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? The answer to that is no. Anytime a police officer asks you something, that means they already know they don't have the right to order you to do it.
Slow that up for me. Hold up.
Okay.
Can you repeat that again slowly? Anytime that an officer asks you something, can you repeat that slowly for me?
Right. So somebody's saying, hey, brother, whatever they say to y'all, hey, dude, can I talk to you for a minute? That's already an indication, right, that you can say no, and keep walking. Because if they could talk to you for a minute, they wouldn't ask you. Right? They would just stop you. But that's one of the things that people don't realize. You have the right to keep on moving when somebody asks you, can I talk to you for a minute? Is it okay if I search your car is a big one, right?
Right.
You stop and the police say, can I search your car? It doesn't matter what you do. If they have the right to search your car, they're going to search it anyway. So there's no reason for you to help in the situation and say yes. And I'll tell y'all a good example. A colleague of mine was stopped on the Parkway, and he's now a judge. And I don't know if I can say it, so I won't. He was stopped on the Parkway, and the police asked him, can we search your car? And he said no. And not because he was doing anything wrong. It's just I don't want people searching my car.
Exactly.
And he said no. And so the police said, okay, well then you're going to have to wait here for the police dog. And so that's what they did. He and his mother, coming back from a funeral in New York, if I remember it correctly, were out in the rain waiting for the police dog to come and search the car. And obviously there was nothing in the car.
Right.
So the judge ultimately, he wasn't a judge then, but he's a judge now. He ultimately won a big lawsuit, and I'm not sure if it was Prince George's County or Parkway Police, so I won't say for sure. But he won a lawsuit where they had to report now how many people they were stopping, what was the basis of the stop, and all of that, all based on this gentleman being stopped on the roadway. Because you can say no. There's no reason for anybody to say, no, you can't search my car. Once you say yes, then you're giving up your right. And that's what people aren't realizing. Once you say yes, there's no longer this question of did they violate my right? No, they didn't, because you gave permission. Can I talk to you for a minute? If you stop and talk, then you've given up your right to not talk. And so it's no longer an issue for you in court.
Great. And you spoke up. So in terms of when, let's say you're in custody and they want to question you, what kind of advice can you give us when, in terms of, I don't know if you give legal advice. I don't know if you can give legal advice, but educate us on our rights as it pertains to not having to give statements or incriminating yourself according to, the Constitution.
So we all have the right not to incriminate ourselves. And I even have T-shirts that say this. I don't give statements. I don't consent to searches. Call my lawyer. This is all you need to know. I don't give statements. I don't consent to searches. Call my lawyer. And it's important to do that. I had a case when the guy came to see me. He knew not to talk to them. The police called me and said, well, we heard it was self-defense. If you can just come in, he can tell us his side of the story, then we'll close the case.
Okay.
And I said, how about you just close the case, right? Because you don't need to, if you already believe it's self-defense, why do I want to bring my client to you to put himself at the scene, to tell what he did, and anything he says can be used against him. And suddenly it's no longer a self-defense case because he went in and said something that maybe you could have not, you didn't have to hit him, maybe you didn't have to shoot, whatever it is. And so we did that. And it's hard to do that because you're scared if you don't do it, then they're going to come arrest you. But really, really, if they're looking for you for a murder and you're thinking, you know, if I talk to them, then they won't arrest me. The reality is, if you don't talk to me, you may not get arrested. If you do talk to them, you're most likely you are going to get arrested.
Right.
So we did that. I said, no, we're not coming in, and the case disappeared.
Nice.
They just finally closed the case. They got tired of waiting for me to change my mind. They called like once a month. Really, we just want to close the case. We'll close the case.
Absolutely.
You're welcome to close the case. And they ultimately did close the case.
Right. One of the Facebook comments say, "How many of us folks got a lawyer? I'll wait." What's your response to that?
How many what?
How many of us folks got a lawyer? I'll wait.
I'm not sure what that question means.
So,
everybody has a lawyer because if the police come to you for anything, you always have the ability to call the public defender service if you can't afford a lawyer.
Yeah, even and just so I can add on to that, I think it was a rhetorical question, but even if I can add on to that, the police doesn't know if you have a lawyer. It's your right to say, I don't want to talk. I want to call my lawyer. And at that point, all questioning has to cease. Is that correct?
Right. So if you're in with the police, even if you say call my lawyer and they're like, who's your lawyer? I don't have one. It still means get me a lawyer. Get me a lawyer. And they have to get you a lawyer.
And I think we have to make it very clear for people that once you assert your right, not to talk, not to speak, that you cannot turn around and voluntarily start opening up your big mouth and start talking about anything, because once you do that, you'll be deemed as waiving that right. Is that correct?
That's correct. So if you say I don't want to talk, get me a lawyer. And then you say, well, what is it that's going on anyway? And then you start having a conversation, then you back to have waived your right to a lawyer if you initiate another conversation.
And then at that point, they can start asking you questions about the crime and what you did or what's allegedly to have been, and it all would be admissible in court. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I recently read an interesting case where you just had a case overturned. Was it the Court of Appeals or Court of Special Appeals?
I think it was the Court of Special Appeals. Honestly, I'm not the one who did the appeal. I was the trial lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Everybody will tell you that trial lawyers shouldn't do their own appeals.
Absolutely.
Not because you see things differently. It was the Court of Special Appeals. So I just looked it up. It was the Court of Special Appeals.
Okay. Are you able to elaborate on that? And
so that was the case. It was Nick Linden. Juan Nick Linden was charged with attempted murder, and the complainant was a former Prince George's County police officer, and we had gone out and gotten all of his records, trying to figure out why is he a former Prince George's County police officer. It turned out that he was a former Prince George's County police officer because he lied on his application. And so they originally fired him, and then he went and had some kind of, his union got involved. He got some kind of hearing, and they said, okay, we won't fire you, but you can resign on your own.
Got you.
And so what he had not put on his application was that he had been charged with indecent exposure to a minor. He had been involved in an assault where he knocked out some guy's eye socket. He was a defendant in a protective order with a girlfriend. And he had been involved in a traffic dispute, like our case, where the police had to detain him. So our case was a traffic dispute. It was my position that he kind of wanted to keep playing cop. He wanted to control what was happening in the streets, and so he and my client were doing this thing. He was telling my client to pull over, and client didn't want to. So it was this whole mess going on in the street. He ultimately called the police and said that Mr. McLendon had pointed a gun at him. And so we went to trial, and Mr. McLendon ended up in an accident. They did find the gun in the car. The question was, did he point the gun at him, or did the guy just see this gun when they stopped him because he ran up? He was just involved. He was way involved. Let's just say that. He was way involved.
Gotcha.
So when we got to trial, we wanted to cross-examine the complainant, the only witness in the case, about his history. Because now all the jury knew was, this former police officer. But we knew all this stuff that I just talked to you about. And so we wanted to cross-examine him about the firing from Prince George's County Police. So when we did, the state objected to it. We had a long discussion with the judge. We showed her everything we had. And she said she wasn't going to let us get into it. I said, we have a right to impeach him to show that he's not a credible person. And she said, well, you can ask him if he got fired. But if he says no, then you're stuck with his answer.
Even if you know that that's a lie?
We all knew it was a lie. And I kept saying, so you're telling us we're stuck with perjured testimony. And those were the words she used. You're stuck with his answer. And so we had to hope that the guy was going to be honest, right? And say, yeah, I was fired, in order for me to ask him the additional questions.
That's
about everything that he had done.
That's ridiculous.
Of course, there was a break. The prosecutor talked to him outside. He came back in. I asked him the question, sir, isn't it true that you were fired, for lying on the application or something along those lines? And he said no.
Oh, my God.
So I was stuck with the answer. So the jury left the courtroom believing still that this was this officer, that I asked this question out of nowhere, right? Because now I look crazy.
Yes.
You didn't ask this man this question, and he don't know what he looked at me like, what? No. Like literally he played the role of, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
And so we were convicted. And it went to appeals. This was 2 years ago. And let's say we were convicted, and Mr. McLendon was sentenced. We weren't convicted of attempted murder or first-degree assault, but he was convicted of second-degree assault. Okay. The judge sentenced him to 45 years.
What?
He sentenced him to 45 years. And I honestly believe that the reason she said she believed the story, and so it really didn't matter, right? So she gave him all the time she could give him in spite of the jury's verdict. And he appealed. I encouraged him to appeal. I said, you have to appeal this. This is wrong. This is a basic right to cross-examine any witness, but the main witness, the only witness. And so he appealed it. The Court of Appeals reversed the conviction, remanded it back to sentencing, and said, in Prince George's County, you must pay for the defense. So I think that's a big notice to the court when they say, not only are we remanding it, but you guys got to pay the bill.
Wow. Especially from Court of Special Appeals. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So now we come to today, and you have decided to run as the judge. Can you explain to the people, please, for the life of me, can you explain to the people that judges are elected officials? Please.
Okay, so judges, and actually this was one of the cases that finally I said, you know what, we got to do something different. I went and looked. There'd only been one defense attorney appointed as a judge. And I said, I want to be a judge. And so people say, well, in order for you to be a judge, you have to be a prosecutor first. Mm-hmm. No, I don't want to be a prosecutor. I'm a defense attorney, and now I want to be a judge. I don't want to be a prosecutor. I don't have an interest in prosecuting people in this system. What I have an interest in doing is balancing the system as a judge, right?
Nice.
As in knowing that people have the right to cross-examine their witnesses and giving them the opportunity to do that. So it turns out that there are really two ways to become a judge. And I think what happens is that people are used to the way that it's been going on for ages, I guess. And that is that these people who want to be judges go through a committee, which really means they go through all the bar associations of different lawyers. And then the bar associations write a letter to a committee and they say, yeah, we think this will be a good judge. And then they send those people's names to the governor. And then out of that list of people, the governor appoints judges. Now, when he appoints judges, that's not the end of it, because they must run in the very next election. And I think that what people have not been realizing is, and I think that the way the system has been used is that when they run at the very next election, we've been using it as a confirmation instead of an election. And the election is not a confirmation. It's a decision for the people to decide, do we want these people as judges? And so the other way to become a judge is just to run. And I decided to run, one, because I realized the defense attorney thing was getting in the way. They just aren't appointing defense attorneys. And two, I wanted to do, it's just who I am, right? I'm just on the outside. And I wanted to stay on the outside and be selected by the community. I didn't want to become a politician. And so I made the decision to just run. And so usually when the judges run, and I've seen it, I've voted here in the last 15 years, I don't know, 4 times, it'll say, there are 4 people listed, pick 4. Well, what are you going to do? There's 4, you pick 4. This time there's 5 seats open, and 7 of us are running. So you can pick 5 out of the 7, you can pick 1 out of the 7, you can pick 1 through 5 out of the 7. Because it is an election. That means you get to choose.
Right.
And that's why I'm running, because people need to be able to choose somebody out of the box.
Absolutely. So I just want to run through a quick checklist. Number 1, she's been fighting against injustices her whole career, 25 plus years, right? Number two, she's not a part of the establishment per se, because I know politics very well in Prince George's County. And when you all see these poster boards up with these 4 or 5 judges up on there at one time, they're running as a slate. They're being backed by the establishment. They have funding from the establishment, which you do not have. You're not backed by the establishment. You're an independent person, an independent candidate. So, not to mention, she's very she knows the law. She's very qualified. She's well qualified as it pertains to the law. That's why I ran you through the line of questioning that I did, so people understand. You started as a public defender up to the chief public defender, or however way it was. I can't remember everything. And now you practice your own law. You have your own office, and now you're running to become a judge. Now, how long do you sit on the bench as an elected judge in Prince George's County?
15 years. And in fact, one of the people who is running, one of the sitting judges, has been on the bench 15 years, so she has to rerun. So if she wins, she'll be on there for 30 years, assuming,
Wow.
she doesn't get sick or die. So it's a 15-year appointment. I really want people to look me up. Seriously, and look up these other people who have been appointed, and then you make the decision, because that's what it's about. I might not be everybody's cup of tea, but look me up and see if I'm a person that you think will serve justice in the courtroom. I want somebody to go in the courtroom where I am and say, no matter what happens, I know it was fair.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's all you need, is I know it was fair, no matter what happens. It may not go your way, because, plenty of times I've had to say to clients, okay, this is not going to work. we gotta bet our count our losses and go. But you want to know that it's going to be fair.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
You want to know that everybody. I went into a courtroom the other day, and I know in Prince George's County they put people on the screen for bond review hearings. They don't come in. They put them on the TV screen. And I didn't see the judge look at the TV screen but one time. And I saw 4 people come through. So he's not even paying attention to who he's making decisions about. And that's important. I mean, there's a person standing there, but, I guess if they're sitting there long enough, they just see an orange jumpsuit. You can't really, it's not HD, so it's not real clear. And they're not making the decision based on the person. They're just going on, paperwork. And I think it's important that you see and know who you're talking to when they're standing in a courtroom. And I think that's what we're missing.
If I can get some questions in, I need you all to call at 301 or even comments. It doesn't even have to be questions. Sister worked very hard to get at this place in her career. She's a soldier. She's fair. If I can get some people to call in, 301-818-1304, 301-818-1304. If you have a question, I'm opening up the lines for you right now, man, because at the end of the day, I am supporting Gladys. I want to see Gladys in on the bench. Just because I'm a returning citizen does not mean that I don't seek justice. And when I say seek justice, I'm not talking about letting everybody walk off scot-free and things. I'm talking about dealing with justice. If the sentence, the crime calls for 2 years, then guess what? He need to get, or she needs to get 2 years. If it calls them to get probation, then they need to get probation, right? And also to understand this, when you have a fighter like Gladys on the bench, and them police officers walk into her courtroom, they're gonna know we have to have all of our T's crossed and all of our I's dotted, because this judge is not going to let us get away with nothing. She will set the tone in the courtroom. Every judge deal with their courtroom differently. She would be elected by the people, so she will have to answer to the people. She don't have to answer to the politicians of the county. She would be answering directly to us, the voters. All right, so I need all of my people that's watching, I need you to share this video. I need you to call in and ask your questions. The lines are open for you. Anything you may not understand. And also, we need you to share. This is a grassroots campaign. Gladys, speaking of the campaign, what's going on with the election date as it pertains to everything that's going on with Corona? What's going on with where we stand right now?
Okay, so now the election is on June the 2nd.
Okay.
My understanding is there will be no early voting, and what they're counting on is to do more mail-in voting. They will mail us ballots, self-addressed ballots. You will stamp, and we will complete the ballots and send them in. They will have a couple polls open. Each county apparently is going to do 1 to 4 precincts that will stay open so that people can go. But they're really counting on people staying home and mailing in their votes.
I see that can be advantageous, and it can have a disadvantage as well. But my people, if we would just mail in, they're going to give you a self-addressed stamped envelope. Come on. All you got to do is check the boxes and mail it in. We need Gladys Witherspoon on the bench. She's a defense attorney all her life. Just imagine your cousins, your uncles, your nephews, your children, your daughters going in front of these judges that don't give 2 cents about our people, giving them 100 years for one piece of rock, a 20-year sentence, 45-year sentences. No, real justice reform starts right here with us electing our people into office that's going to give us justice, man. This is where it starts at. How can people help you out on your campaign, Gladys, before I let you go? Nobody, I don't know if they shy, they might be intimidated by you, you know, but how can people help if they want to help your campaign?
You can go to my webpage and share it. Share my Facebook, which is Friends of Gladys Weatherspoon. Share my Facebook page. On Instagram, I'm Gladys for Judge. On Twitter, I'm Gladys for Judge. I would say if everybody gave me $1, I'd be set.
How could if anyone wanted to donate to your campaign, how could they do that? Which way do we donate?
They can go to Friends of Gladys Weatherspoon, and there's a donate button.
Okay. Friends, let me see if
I'm sorry. It's GladysWeatherspoon.com. We changed it. So it's GladysWeatherspoon.com. You can go to GladysWeatherspoon.com and you can donate there.
Okay. GladysWeatherspoon.com.
Yeah.
Who asked a
question? But really, what we need to do is get the word out, get more people to understand what I'm about, share my webpage, share information about me, and look up the other people who are running. If you're really serious about voting, for what's best for you as a community.
That's right.
I'm not afraid of that. You go look and see. There's a person who's been appointed who was never in a courtroom ever. A person's been appointed who they don't even list where he worked before. It just says a big law firm in Montgomery County. I mean, that's the thing that you got to think. Why? Why won't they list where they work?
Wait a minute. You said a person is on the bench right now?
Who got appointed. I went and looked to see what do they say about these people, because I want to know.
That has never been in a courtroom?
Say again?
You said this person that's on the bench this person that's on the bench right now as a judge, there's a person that has never been in a courtroom, is what you said?
Yeah, that didn't work in the courtroom. There's a person who, these are people, their point, either they worked as prosecutors, so obviously they were in the courtroom, but they also are people who worked for the county, for the state, who they weren't courtroom lawyers. So, there's a wills and estates person who did only consensual divorces. So there was no real, there was nothing in the courtroom to do except if we're here, we're fighting, thank you. But nobody who really had a battle in the courtroom, who knew what's needed in the courtroom.
Wow. That's amazing.
My position on it.
And let me see here. I have a question from Renee. Says, can you take cash apps?
I can. They frown on it. And what I do when that happens is I turn around and I immediately write a check to the campaign and put the person's name on it. But it's just very hard because anybody can turn around and the truth is you can give up to $100 in cash. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's a little bit more complicated because I have to then write a check to the campaign for the cash that I received.
But we will wrap. I'm gonna put the on the screen right now. I just put GladysWeatherspoon.com. That's your website, correct?
Yes, GladysWeatherspoon.com.
Okay, on the screen now, I just put up GladysWeatherspoon.com. I need you all to go to that website and check her out. Like, if you want to donate, there's a donate button on there. Hey, $5, $2, $3. You would be surprised what could be done with a $5 donation. We talking stamps. We're talking that would allow her to mail out information into our homes and put the information directly in our hands. All donations, you're talking about yard signs. If you would like to get a yard sign, text me, hit her on her inbox on her Facebook. What's your Facebook page, Miss Gladys?
My Facebook is Friends of Gladys Weatherspoon.
Okay, Friends of Gladys Weatherspoon. Like, listen, this is a real grassroots campaign. We can get her elected. There are 7 people running. 7. There are 5 vacancies available. One of those seats need to have Judge Witherspoon's name on it. Bobby, Bobby said on Facebook, about 10 years in Montgomery County, my 18-year-old godson was sentenced to 72 years for 2 carjackings. 72 years. God almighty. I received more time than some. I received more time, or maybe he was wanting to say he received more time than someone who murdered someone. I know he would. I know he was guilty. Let me see. Say Seymour. I know he was guilty of the crimes he committed and should have been punished, but not 72 years. My understanding, the judge was retired months later. That is not justice.
Right.
You see?
That's not justice.
That's not
That's
justice.
outrageous. That's outrageous. 72 years? And look, I'm not saying everybody should go home, let's slap you on the hand and go home, but 72 years, particularly with kids, because, we all know, everybody knows by now that the brain isn't fully developed until you're 22.
Yes, ma'am.
So we aren't able to see what's coming around the corner, and we do stupid things. We just do.
Ain't that the truth? All right, well, I don't want to hold you. I'm trying to make sure as soon as I get off the phone, be like, dang it, I should have asked her this. Is it anything that you feel like I left out that you want to speak on?
No, I don't. I just want people to really concentrate and focus. Judge elections are important. I think, people don't really consider them as important as other things. But ultimately, these are the people who are affecting your family's life on a daily basis. The delegates will go in and work with us as a whole and affect the community as a whole. But judges deal with individuals every day, every single day. And I think that you should want somebody there who has seen what's on this side of the courtroom and knows what is needed for people to feel heard on both sides. I mean, I'm not just, I'm just going to go in and defend. What I'm saying is you need somebody who has seen both sides and has been able to say, look, a person charged doesn't necessarily have to go to jail. I really am wanting to have some creative sentencing. I think it's important that we figure out a way to do things differently. Like the guy that didn't show up for jury duty. I don't know if you remember. It wasn't here, but he got put in jail for that. I just think that's a waste of judicial space to put a person who's never been in trouble before in jail because he didn't show up for jury duty. What might have been a better thing to do is to force him to come to court and sit through a whole trial as the 15th juror and sit in that courtroom and watch the whole thing and realize why it was important for him to show up. Those are the kind of things that I'm interested in, is doing different things other than locking people up. I also think, and I've said this a million times, is that judges need to visit the jails that they're sending people in. And I'm not talking about a 45-minute tour. I'm talking about 4 or 5 hours in the jail so you can really see what it's about. Because if you know what you're putting people through, you might consider differently putting an 18-year-old in a jail cell for sitting a package. So I think it should be mandatory that every year judges visit the jail for a significant amount of time and just know what you're getting people into. When I go to Prince George's County Jail, I know what's there. I know what the problems are. I know how people are affected. And I think that while people sit as judges who have never been in there, they don't know what they're really sending people to be a part of.
Great, that's great. And before we leave, I almost forgot. I should have been asking you this. What are some of the people that you have represented? Because I've seen quite a few notables in the area. I don't know if you can say some of your previous clients. Are you allowed to say that?
I don't say clients' names who have not ending up in a court of appeals in a published opinion.
Okay.
And that's because, they might have gone on with their life and don't want me to say, oh, John Smith was in jail.
Gotcha.
So,
well, I'll say this.
But I've had murder cases, rape cases, drug cases, simple assaults, second-degree assaults. I've had all types of cases.
I'll say this. If you all go to her Facebook page, she has some publicly endorsed individuals that you can see on your own without having to say any names. But it just goes to show her reach. Like people really trust her. They trust her to fight for their freedom and to fight for justice for them. So, again, if you go to Friends of Gladys Witherspoon?
On Facebook, it's Friends of Gladys Witherspoon. Yeah.
Okay. Go to
and on the internet, the web page is just GladysWitherspoon.com.
And do you have Instagram?
I have Instagram. That's Gladys _4Judge. Gladys 4Judge. And Twitter is also Gladys 4Judge.
Nice. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. I thank you so much. Soon to be Judge Gladys Witherspoon of Prince George's County. Right now, running for to become the judge for the Prince George's County Circuit Court. So I need all of my family and friends. I need you to share all my motorcycle clubs, all my car clubs, all my social clubs. Y'all know what we do. This is what we do. We can't get out in the street right now, but guess what? Push that share button. Contact Ms. Witherspoon. Have a conversation with her. And then you decide whether or not you want to vote for her come June the 5th. All right?
June the 2nd.
June the 2nd. I'm sorry, June the 2nd.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you
Joseph, I just want to say this to you, that I looked up this interview and it says content isn't available.
I'll make sure I make it available. It may be sharing this privately right now.
Okay.
But I see people on here actually commenting. Chico just said I tried to share it, they can't see it. That's all right. I'll fix that because it's probably coming over as private right now. And if I go in there and make it public. Okay. Trust me, we'll get it out there.
All right, great.
All right, because I'm looking at it right now on my Facebook Live, so it's definitely streaming right now.
Okay, good.
All right, so I thank you for
coming. All right, then. Thank you so much for calling me, and I'm going to try to figure out a way to keep my know your rights things going. We talked about it earlier, and I had 2 that were canceled already. And then I realized I was doing a Zoom with somebody else, and I said, "Hey, we can do a Zoom." So I'm going to pick a date and do a Zoom about know your rights, and then we can have this discussion about how to handle yourself when you're stopped by the police.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Maybe we can maybe I can moderate that.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Maybe we can do a Zoom town hall or something, and I can moderate it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
All right. Thank you for coming on, Ms. Witherspoon.
All right, take care.
You too, thank you. All right, you all. Well, there you have it. I'm not going to continue to go on. I want you to share this video with your family and friends. It's very important that we get our own people in there that will give us justice. This is where you start the justice reform, man. Hey, thanks for tuning in with your boy OT, man, a.k.a. I guess I got to use my proper name since I had Joseph Tolbert the 3rd. I'll catch y'all tonight, man, on the dock side.